Hello and welcome to It's All Connected. Now I've already butchered the intro. Welcome to It's All Connected, the Marvel, DC, Star Wars recap show here on the Illuminerdi. I'm one of your hosts, Bryce West, and these are our other co-hosts.
What's up, guys? Richard Devins here, another writer for the Illuminerdi, mostly Marvel, little bit of everything. And before we get too far, Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Hey everybody, Caitlin Tyrrell, writer at the Illuminerdi, and Richard and I are both also on the Bad Batch Star Wars watch along that is on every Thursday now, 11:40 p.m. to start. We have the first two episodes already up and available, although episode 2 post-show's great. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but the post-show's great.
If it makes you feel any better, this is our first time having that kind of technical difficulties, and hopefully it'll be the last.
There we go.
Yes. Yep. And
This is our first episode at the new time slot, Sundays at 3:30 Pacific. So this is fun. It's actually light outside whenever I'm doing this. So that's interesting. That's new for me. So that's awesome. But yeah, we're happy all of you could join us here today. We've got a lot of stuff. We got a new episode of Bad Batch to talk about. We've got some Marvel stories, some DC stories as well, of course. And before we head into the Bad Batch, I did want to let you all know that we do have a super chat feature here on the channel. So we will be reading chat throughout the show. But if you want to guarantee that your message will be read, or if you have a topic suggestion for us, then you can definitely send in a super chat. It really helps out the show and the channel. So thank you all. And yeah, are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty,
I think we're gonna dive straight into Bad Batch, right?
There we go. Let's get into Star Wars.
Yep,
everybody.
another episode. Oh yeah.
All right, so this is a little bit of a different episode than we saw with the first one, because the first one was that major 70-minute, like almost movie-style pilot where we really set everything up. And thank you for joining us, Tester Cantlin, in the chat. Always great.
Yeah, he's always here. Thank you, Tester.
And we were talking a little bit about it on the live stream, but this episode was a little bit more maybe emotionally driven, I think is the way that we said, or emotionally motivated, whereas the last one was a little more action oriented, like we're used to with the Bad Batch. So personally, I was a fan. I thought it was an important story beat because it really defined Omega being part of the Bad Batch now. It wasn't just, oh, we grabbed her because she was probably going to die otherwise. It was like an actual point of she made the decision, Hunter made the decision, and I guess the rest of them did too. But yeah, this was a little bit different than what we're used to seeing with the Bad Batch, because the Bad Batch, when we've seen them in their 4-episode arc in Clone Wars and in the pilot, it's been more action-oriented. It's been more about, like, the emotions in the Clone Wars was more of Rex looking for Echo. The emotions in the pilot was more of, what is happening right now? You know, it was just that panic mode.
Craziness.
Yeah, so this is a little bit different. What did you guys think of it?
You know, as somebody, we watched it obviously all together last Thursday night. I don't want to say it was like a slower, like more filler episode, because I don't think that, there are many of those in this series or in Star Wars at all. But
I would agree with your first statement that it was slower. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, definitely slower on that front. But then again, week 1, like you said, was more of a movie. Like, it was 70 minutes long. Yeah. But I like the emotional beats that we hit in this one. We found out a little bit more about Omega, got a little bit more emotional with the entire Bad Batch team. We got cut back, which was cool, from season 2 of Clone Wars, which is kind of a cool callback to that.
Yeah, for those of you who have not watched the entirety of Clone Wars, Cut LaQuaine showed up in one episode. In season 2. It was season 2, episode 10. So if you do want to see a bit of his backstory, you can watch that episode and essentially be caught up on who he is. But the gist of it is he was a clone who became a deserter after his, battalion was shot down over Geonosis and were all killed. And he went and, fell in love with the Twi'lek Sue. And we're assuming she already had the kids because timeline-wise it seems like it doesn't really match up otherwise. And in the episode of Clone Wars, he bonded with Rex. And we also got a Rex mention.
We did get a Rex mention, yeah.
So that was nice. We're starting to really. We always knew it was connected to Clone Wars, and we saw that in the first episode, but I like that we're still building that out. I totally agree with you, Tester. Clone Wars was awesome.
Yes. Honestly, outside of the original trilogy, I think Clone Wars might be my favorite piece of Star Wars content yet.
Yeah. I think you're really going to like Rebels, but yeah, Clone Wars is awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think this episode, I mean, filler, I mean, I definitely think that it's not full on filler, but it kind of feels like it is right now. I feel like as the show goes on, more of this stuff will become more important because it's not like I don't think we'll go back on this and just go, oh, you can completely skip this episode, which is usually
Right.
what filler is. You know,
Yeah.
especially in another show that I know quite a bit about, Power Rangers. Power Rangers is filler all the time, where they have where it's episodes, you know, and you know, filler episodes are a common thing in TV shows, and I think they're needed a lot of the times to kind of space out the action and the story. But with Power Rangers, there are literal episodes to where you could never watch this episode for the entirety of your life and understand what's going on. You know, and so I don't really think that this is one of those episodes. I do think that this is still, you know, essential viewing for fans of the Bad Batch or the Clone Wars saga or the continuation of that or whatever. But it definitely didn't feel as important as episode 1, but it's not supposed to. Episode 1 is episode 1. You know, episode 1 is supposed to be giving you all this exposition. It's supposed to be allowing you to meet these characters again, for people who didn't watch Clone Wars, or for you, or for the older fans to be reintroduced to these characters. And so episode 2, I think this is kind of what a normal episode will feel like. But yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't as big as episode 1, but it wasn't supposed to be. So for that, I think this episode did its job very well.
I'd agree. I think comparing the two is kind of unfair.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
It was also like 3 times as long. No, twice. Well, a little over twice as long.
Yeah, it was like between 2 and 3. It's like you had 70 odd minutes, you had 20 odd minutes. Why weren't you exactly the same? That's an insane request.
Exactly. Why doesn't 35 minutes feel like 75?
Right? But no, I get what you're saying, Bryce. It's that kind of feel of it's a little bit slow, but at the same time, and it was that moment of like, okay, if you hadn't watched this, you would already know Omega was with you, but you need this to understand why she's there more of anything. So I completely get where you're coming from. The areas that I do think it was important is we got a little bit of more of a feel for Omega. We saw a bit of the versatility of the show because it wasn't just action. We got a heist. So I'm hoping we see a little bit more of that. Because personally, I thought the action was fine. And for me, Bad Batch, I want the action to be kind of like epic, you know? Because it wasn't extra. It wasn't bad. It was kind of that classic Clone Wars like gunfight. But everything we've seen with Bad Batch, it's like another level. So the action was a little bit not quite there for me, except Wrecker, who's just hilarious. But I thought the heist was important because it showed a bit of versatility. And then the Empire stuff. We saw clone troopers really being stormtroopers. We saw that propaganda hologram, which was really cool. And we got chain codes, which we were initially introduced to in The Mandalorian. And we got the beginning of that. So I thought that was a very cool tie-in. And this is tying into Mandalorian, I think, more than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, even besides the fact that Ming-Na Wen's character is going to be in it. Right. And then, you know, it's funny, I was thinking, kind of going off of what you said, Caleb, about the filler thing. I think the only reason it could be thought of as like a filler episode is because by the end of episode 1, you knew Omega was with the Bad Batch. I think, like you said, now we know a little bit more of why, but also at the end of episode 2, you know that Omega's with the Bad Batch. I think that's kind of the biggest reason why people might be saying that. But like you said, I mean, we got a heist in this episode. We got all the propaganda stuff with the Empire. We kind of got the early days of what it feels like to be in an Empire-run galaxy. So that was cool. And then, yeah, I mean, the emotional stuff in it was awesome also. Yeah.
I think my biggest criticisms are, and they're not criticisms that are necessarily needed to be addressed in this episode. I want to see more of Echo and Tech, because we kind of see them do stuff, but they haven't had a real rapport built with Omega. I want to see more of the Bad Batch's like dynamic, and that's kind of the major ones for me. And like the action scene, I said like I'd like it to be a little bit more like higher caliber of just crazy chaos awesomeness. But it was definitely like serviceable. It wasn't like I had an issue with it. It was just that moment.
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't enough Wrecker being stupid. So
yeah, there wasn't enough of them being like, because I thought what they did really well in the first episode is they really showcased each clone's ability in each fight scene. We saw Echo using the droid hand thing. We saw Tex like know how into like how he like hacked the droid. We saw Crosshair using his sniper skills. We saw like Hunter's leadership and how his senses are helpful, and then we of course saw Wrecker and his strength. So they really showcased every clone. We didn't really see that here. It was mostly just to shoot him up.
Yeah, and especially too, just because it was so much shorter, you didn't really have time to go into all that and the heist
100%.
and the Omega stuff. So
yeah, and I think Bryce, you said the Omega stuff is really what you thought was interesting in this episode and what you're wanting to see more of, right?
Yeah. So we do get some stuff teased with Omega. So there's another reason why this is essential viewing because Cut was kind of talking to Hunter about how yeah she's this clone, but what's up with her, and Cut basically tells Hunter, they they made you all for a reason. So they made Omega for a reason too. So what is that reason? And so that made me go, oh, interesting, because I thought going like in episode 1, I thought the twist is like, oh, this is kind of crazy. There's a girl clone.
Yeah.
I thought that was basically going to be the basis of the twist.
right.
But no, they tease in this episode that there's a lot more going on with Omega than we initially thought, and so I am definitely looking forward to seeing where they're going with that.
Yeah, and we saw hints of it in the first episode too, with her kind of intuition and her just instantaneous use of the blaster.
Yeah.
So there's definitely been hints that there's something more about it, but I think you're right. I think Cut really is kind of the one that's putting it in their minds of maybe think about this a little more. And I know there have been theories about her being potentially a force wielder thing, because that has been so if they potentially have it where that's been something that the Emperor has been exploring since essentially he took over, that could be interesting. I'm curious if she is who the basis of her DNA is. Is it still Jango Fett that they just messed around with the Star Wars space sci-fi science to make it female, or is it an entirely different clone where they kind of figuring out a different clone basis since they lost Jango Fett? There's a lot of questions with her that I think are going to be cool. And I think before we move on, the biggest one I want to talk about is just the Empire stuff, because we've been talking about that forever. Yeah. They're really peppering it in a way that's not overbearing, but still cool.
Yeah, you know that the Empire is there enough to know that the Empire is there and they're a force and there's something to be reckoned with. But they do a good job in this episode of not I don't want to say shoving it down our throats, but kind of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we know it's going to be a thing. I like that there's that. We had saw in the first episode saying, no, the fight's just begun, which I thought was cool, because we really saw, oh, this started from the beginning. But you also have this moment of there's going to be people who aren't fighting against it, because to them, this guy just ended a war that's been going on across the entire galaxy for 3 years. Obviously, we as the viewers know it's his fault.
Well, yeah, there's that.
But the propaganda was interesting because it had those really kind of buzzwords that you expect in propaganda of our generosity, that we'll exchange your credits for actual useful credits, that we've changed for the money system, or the chain code, which is essentially register yourself as a person and register all your property so that we have they're doing it in a way where it feels it's menacing, obviously, but they're doing it in a way where it seems helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait to see how much more they develop the Empire stuff throughout the last 14 episodes or something, because it's obviously a huge plot point in the entire Star Wars saga.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very cool. I mean, it's one of the things I've been looking forward to most in this show, so I'm really excited about it. I think more Clone Wars characters. I'm excited to see kind of what the jobs are, because I'm hoping in the next episode they're oh shit, we need food. We need supplies, we need money, we need jobs. So I'm hoping we get that. And then Omega looks based on the trailer, she's gonna be kind of a badass. She's got actual weapons and stuff. So I'm excited.
We need the moment from episode 1 of Falcon and Winter Soldier when he's talking to the guy at the bank. How do you guys make a living?
Right? It's gonna be in like their spaceship run out of fuel, going, "You should have thought this through, right?"
Like,
Episode 3,
now
the
what?
Bad Batch gets audited.
Right? No, we did an episode like that. Oh, we got JD from Illuminerdi. Weird to see you guys in the daylight. Agreed.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier.
Totally.
Okay, so I think that is our big stuff on Bad Batch for episode 2. We're very excited for episode 3. Please join us in the watch along for episode 3 on Thursday at 11:40 p.m. It's me, Richard. I'm assuming Josh again, and so it'll be great. We got a little bit more Star Wars stuff though about Obi-Wan Kenobi, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, I think, is this officially my first time taking a Star Wars subject on this show?
Where it's not us giving you the rundown? Yes, it is.
Yay! Major accomplishment for me.
We didn't tell Richard what to say.
So the big news here is that the Obi-Wan Kenobi series has started filming in LA. Obviously, it doesn't release until next year. We don't know when next year, but sometime next year. But they've officially started filming. Not much is known so far. We haven't actually seen any of the cast or anything.
Right.
But it looks like we've seen some Bantha stuff, possibly. They were obviously building that huge Tatooine set a while back from that leaked set video with the Cantina Band music.
Awesome music.
That was great on TikTok. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, it's just a whole like straight video of the Obi-Wan set from Tatooine, and it's got the Cantina music in the background, which, I mean, anything with the Cantina Band music is great. But, so the biggest news, Obi-Wan has officially started filming for its release on Disney Plus next year. I don't know about you guys. I think this is the series I'm actually most excited for, in the next couple of years.
Oh, I'm beyond excited. Personally, I'm pretty psyched for every Star Wars series. I'm really excited for Ahsoka just because, Ahsoka's awesome. But I'm definitely excited I think I'm more excited for Obi-Wan than I anticipated. I rewatched the prequels, over the weekend, and I've been rewatching Star Wars again for obvious reasons. But I was like, man, Obi-Wan is going to be really interesting because I'm hoping we really see him dealing with, his, kind of the guilt of it was his protege that basically did all this.
Oh yeah.
That's
a lot of guilt in there.
Right? I want to see him kind of doing that training that Yoda did in season, I believe, 6 of Clone Wars to be able to do the Force Ghost stuff. There's a lot of stuff I want to see. And actually, there's a rumor that I'm really excited about that the actress Moses Ingram, who has teased a few times that she's going to be using her lightsaber, and actually released on social media kind of a video of her training with a lightsaber. Very impressive. But there's a rumor that she's going to be an Inquisitor. So this will be our first live-action Inquisitor.
Oh my God. JT in the chat said, going back to Bad Batch for a quick second, Fennec works for the Galactic IRS trying to collect taxes from the Bad Batch.
That'd be amazing. That would be the funniest twist ever.
Seriously.
Hunting them down.
I don't care what happens in this show. That's now in my own personal headcanon. The episode, the Fennec episode will automatically be rewritten in my head to be exactly what you just said. That is great.
Oh, man.
An epic fight scene, and then she beats them, and they're all like, "Oh, she's gonna kill us," and she puts on some glasses and sits down with a calculator. Now.
Oh God! Or she pulls that scene from The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, so it's rumored that we're gonna get our first live-action Inquisitor in Obi-Wan, which I am insanely excited for. Richard, I don't know if you've actually seen Inquisitors because you haven't watched Rebels yet.
Not yet, but I'm excited for him.
Well, you saw kind of the beginnings of it in Clone Wars when Palpatine was having Cad Bane kidnap kids that were Force sensitive.
Totally. Yeah.
Did I steal your moment?
No. I just wanted I wanted to go back here real second. So, okay, let's say the Bad Batch gets audited. Would they be able to use Omega as a tax write-off? Because it's technically
she's a dependent.
Yeah. So because technically
that's what I want.
Omega
is a tax write-off.
But they also stole her.
Yeah,
so
they made Omega to be a tax write-off. That's what it is.
That's dicey. Yeah, that's a little bit of a dicey situation.
Oh my
gosh. Sorry, I didn't
need
to go back off topic.
No, That's
Oh
great.
man.
That's great.
No, that's some of the most fun I've had talking about Star Wars on this show.
But so first live action Inquisitor would be amazing. We already know we're getting Darth Vader, and he's in charge of the Inquisitors. So this could be kind of a lead into that big epic fight that we know is coming. Of maybe she's hunting Obi-Wan for Darth Vader. I think there's been kind of rumors about Commander Cody maybe being part of a clone troop that's hunting down Obi-Wan, possibly.
Awesome.
So
Oh my God.
it would be really interesting because I don't think we were necessarily expecting this to be an on-the-run show, but it feels more and more like it might be.
Right. You know what? The biggest thing that I want to happen, I don't know if for sure it's going to happen. I would love to see Liam Neeson come back, even for like a short, like Force Ghost cameo for this series, as Qui-Gon, because he was easily one of the best parts of episode 1. And I mean, just getting Liam Neeson in anything would be awesome.
Well, he popped up in Clone Wars, like his voice. So
right, he did. So
talked about that happening again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked about it, but I'd really like to see it.
Yeah, but no, I'm excited. What do you think about an Inquisitor showing up, Bryce? Because you've watched Rebels.
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds cool. I really like the idea of the Inquisitor in the show kind of working for Vader to hunt Obi-Wan, because I don't really think Vader would want to go after Obi-Wan himself. I feel like that's still kind of like a really sore spot for him. Yeah.
Touchy subject.
So I think maybe not scared would be the right word, but he just doesn't really want to confront his past. Vader is all about forgetting Anakin Skywalker ever exists. He's only Darth Vader now. And Obi-Wan is kind of like the one thing that's keeping him from doing that, besides Luke, but he doesn't know that Luke is a thing yet. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see how much Vader we're gonna see now, because it sounds like, if this is true, then I'm assuming that the Inquisitor will be dealing with Obi-Wan the most. But Kathleen Kennedy phrased it as the rematch of the century or whatever. So I'm assuming that means Vader and Obi-Wan will fight.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And also, Tester in the chat, I'm sure you guys can explain this a little better about the Inquisitors. Yeah.
Okay, so the Inquisitors we see a lot in Rebels. Like I said, it was kind of teased in Clone Wars. So essentially, the Inquisitors are what the Empire does with Force-sensitive kids. Some of them are kind of old Jedis or Jedi guards. And some of them are literally just like the Force-sensitive kids. So instead of training them to be Jedi, they train them to be what are called Inquisitors. And they were used to hunt down the remaining Jedi and just, like, kill them, destroy them. So the Inquisitors are basically a bunch of, like, soldiers for the dark side, I think is the best way to explain it. What do you say, Bryce?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know. I've seen Rebels season 1, but it's been forever since I've seen it, so I don't remember. It's not as fresh for me, but I mean that sounds about right.
For sure.
I haven't watched it since probably it came out. So but
and they work for Darth Vader, which makes sense for obvious reasons. I think it'll be interesting because I have not read the comics for Darth Vader. I really want to, so I'm going to get to that. But I know that he's been struggling, I think, in the most current ones with the whole Anakin thing. So that is definitely something that I don't know we necessarily see it here because it's been 10 years. I know that he wants to kill Obi-Wan. He's been wanting to kill Obi-Wan pretty much since Obi-Wan burned him in lava and cut off all his limbs.
Turned into a tripleplegic.
Right, so it's not a shock, but I do think it'll be interesting to have someone else hunting him, because I don't think the Emperor wants him confronting Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan knows some shit the Emperor maybe doesn't want him to, since the Emperor told Anakin that he's the one who murdered his wife,
It's a lot of shady stuff that we're getting into here.
Yeah, so no, I'm really excited for Obi-Wan. I mean, this is one of those things where I was like, we're getting a live-action Inquisitor? I was already in, but you just like, okay, great. I'm even more excited now.
Yeah. Like, and it's funny, like, that stuff is great, and this show has, like, a killer cast. I mean, Kumail Nanjiani and Hayden Christensen's coming back. But I think for me, just the thing I'm most excited about is Ewan McGregor is finally coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's been over 15 years since we've seen him in this role, and this is arguably his most iconic role ever. And I mean, he was easily the best part of the prequels, and just give me more Obi-Wan, man.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of possibilities. We have the whole him on Tatooine, so probably keeping an eye on Luke. We have the possibility of him interacting with people from the Rebellion. We reported that he, like in an exclusive, that he's going to show up in Andor, so I wouldn't be shocked to see him have some sort of relationship with Bail Organa in this, and then also Leia by extension for getting Inquisitors. We're hoping we see him dealing with some guilt, which if Hayden Christensen's coming back, I mean, him kind of doing double duty as Anakin and Darth Vader doesn't seem outside the realm of possibilities. And then Richard wanting to see Qui-Gon, I'm totally down because I want to see him learning to be a Force ghost. Like, there's a lot of areas they can explore with this show, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, Obi-Wan, we can't wait. And then real quick, I think our last Star Wars thing we're going to talk about. There was a lot of people upset about kind of the Kanan Jarrus retcon of the Order 66 scene. After last episode, someone in the chat, I'm so sorry, I can't remember your name, was talking about it from the comics. I read the comics, I think, the next day because I wanted to know what you were talking about. I completely understand why you're upset. In the comics, it's a little more personal. Kanan and his Jedi Master get attacked by these clones that they've known for years and been friends with. And it's that heart-wrenching feeling of it. The Bad Batch is not involved at all. So it was changed. I also understand the change because if you want to include that in the Bad Batch, you do need to switch it up. I think that the rest of the comic still works personally. And they kind of addressed it a little bit. Star Wars, one of the story, Star Wars producers, story, kind of gurus who keeps track of all of that, kind of explained it in a way that it's kind of like the history book of element. And the way he explained it was, if you want one way to square the circle is the history textbook version of events. Persons X and Y were on planet B when A occurred. So Kanan and his Jedi Master were on this planet when Order 66 happened, is the canon. A fictional expression of it is potentially dramatized and embellished for its medium. Your space mileage may vary. Now, the reason I think this works for Kanan specifically and for the Ahsoka book, which also has some retconning going on with the final 4 episodes of Clone Wars, they're both memories. So the Kanan one especially, it was a super traumatic event. He's remembering it when he's injured in the comics. We're seeing it as sort of a flashback. So I think it works. I also understand people being upset about it. So that was kind of what I wanted to throw my 2 cents in there because I knew it was something to be knowledgeable enough in the last episode to address.
You see, that's the problem with the comics and with the books. And I feel like here the past couple episodes I've been very anti-comic and books, which I'm not. But the problem with them is the fact that the movies and the TV shows take precedent first because Star Wars is a film franchise to start off with, which goes on and does TV shows, and they've said explicitly in the past, the movies and the TV shows are the main canon. So we've seen it time and time again where they retcon stuff. Ahsoka was a big one. For season 7, and people go, "What the heck? That's not what happened in the book that I read." I think Cobb Vanth, they changed some things with him.
Yeah, how he got the armor.
And I think I think the big difference here, between Star Wars versus Marvel or DC. With Marvel and DC, they always use the comics more as an inspiration, not as either a direct, copy from book to movie or as something that's supposed to be interwoven, comics with the movies and the TV shows and everything. So I think that's also where it gets into some tricky territory there.
Honestly, what I think they should have done is I don't think they should have ever gotten rid of Legends. I think they should have kept that as this is our book in our comic book universe. This is going to be separate. This is an alternate timeline. So they can do whatever they want in the comics and books, and then have the movies and the TV shows be there to be the definitive canon version of these characters and this universe. But obviously they didn't do that, and
Yeah.
now we run into trouble where we have conflicting canon within the books and the comic books and the TV shows and the movies, and it's just like it becomes a big mess.
I also do understand why they didn't necessarily want to get rid of the books and comics, because then you wouldn't have the High Republic that's going on right now that we know is going to spin off into TV shows and stuff. But I will say the way that they can kind of get around it is with the books and comics, at least for the two we mentioned, and I think a couple, and the Cobb Vanth even, you have the unreliable narrator kind of possibility to go with, because Cobb Vanth, when he's explaining how he got the armor to Mando, like, it wouldn't be a shock that he didn't explain that it was like a confrontation, that he just bought it. There you kind of have a little bit of wiggle room, in my opinion, with that.
For sure. Yeah. And then also real quick, thank you, Tester, for joining us. I know he's got to go, but thanks also Donnie for coming in. He's been with us almost every week, and again, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, and I will say, before we move on from Star Wars, Cat Yellow Ranger said hopefully we get the Boba versus Cad Bane arc in Bad Batch, since it was supposed to be in Clone Wars. I didn't know that. Cool. That'd be cool. I mean,
that would be cool.
I think we're all hoping that we get Boba and Cad Bane, because Cad Bane doesn't really show up past Clone Wars, and Boba showing up in this would be a really good way to set up the Book of Boba Fett with Boba and Fennec, not necessarily interacting, but I think I've said before, because it looks like from the last trailer she's chasing them, so if there's multiple bounty hunters going after them, that would be a cool way to do that.
Yeah, I love
JD,
Cad Bane and anything, so...
Yeah, JD in the chat says, I understand, Bryce, but the books and comics kept Star Wars alive until the prequels. Exactly, so keep them. Keep them in their own separate universe. If you want to do something different with the movie and TV shows, that's fine. But keep those books and comic books and stuff like that for the people who love those characters, because I know there was plenty of people who love the next generation of Star Wars, like the Jason Solo, Jaina, Anakin Solo, those were really popular characters. Thrawn, of course, they brought him back within canon, but the Thrawn trilogy was huge. Obviously, as I'm sure you know, it sounds like you're a fan of them. And the Old Republic, the Old Republic is ginormous, and right now it's technically, as far as we know, not canon. It's still Legends, unless they want to, until they finally reintroduce it within the main canon. So I think they should have kept doing Legends for the people who were invested in those characters for so long, and have the movies and TV shows be a separate thing, be whatever Disney wanted it to be. So
I could almost see kind of an in between that, where they have Legends as one storyline going, you have the TV shows and movies, and you have the books and comics that interact with the TV shows. But as long as you labeled it Star Wars Legends, I don't see why you had to stop it.
Yeah,
for sure.
So
yeah.
But I think that's our major Star Wars stuff for today. We are going to move on to Marvel. Not quite as full as it was on
last week.
But real quick,
trailer drop. But
real quick, before we do, just wanted to remind you all once again that we do have a super chat feature here on the channel. Obviously, we're going to be reading chat throughout the episode, but if you want to guarantee that your chat will be read, because we do miss stuff sometimes, definitely be sure to send a super chat. Also, if you have a topic suggestion, that's another good way to get us to talk about something, is super chat. It really helps out the show and the channel. So there we go. So let's move on to Marvel.
And then also real quick, I got a text of a screenshot from my mom saying she's watching the show. So thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day.
There we
Karen
go.
Evans. Thank you so much.
Really quick before we go on Star Wars, Lint324
Marvel,
said I think, Marvel, Lint324 said I think Bane is canon. Cad Bane, he's from Clone Wars, so he would be canon.
I think he meant
about someone else. I don't know.
Also,
Darth
he's just
Bane,
awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah. Also, Cad Bane would be just awesome. I love everything with Cad Bane from Clone Wars, and I just want to see more of him.
I want a live action Cad Bane so bad.
Yes, I don't know who would play him, but that would be awesome.
But Marvel, Bryce, I think you want to follow up on one of the topics you talked about last week, or Tuesday, because we got a little bit more news on it.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So Andrew Garfield said some stuff last week about Spider-Man, saying he's like, I'm not in it, I swear, please believe me. Basically, but he was so, because he was directly asked if he was in Spider-Man. And whenever it was like a yes or no, are you in Spider-Man? He's like, well, I never got a call, but he would refuse to say yes or no. So
Right.
so to me, you know, if I were Andrew Garfield and I had to lie about being in Spider-Man, I would get real technical about it because, like, you know, maybe I'm Andrew
Extra
Garfield and I got a
details.
text about being in Spider-Man, or maybe got an email, you know. So
I
I
love
do
that you
stuff
say
like,
a text.
you know,
Right.
like I do
Because
stuff
that's
like
what
that
Marvel
all
would
the
do. They would
time.
text you if you're in a movie.
Like, you
Yo,
know,
Garfield, suit up.
yeah, you know,
Garfield,
so
Spider-Man 3, you in?
And he texts back, new phone, who dis?
New phone. Who dis?
Please carry on. I'm so sorry.
but you know, whenever, you know, that's kind of how I would lie. You know, I would go, well, technically I didn't get a phone call, so I didn't lie. And so now,
Right.
but yeah, he would not give it a yes or no. Uh, and then, you know, the interviewer would try to move on, but then Andrew Garfield would keep going back to it to try and try and
Yeah.
really
To
like further.
extra say that he wasn't.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay. And now Andrew Garfield has come back again, and now he's saying never say never. So it's just like, dude, like you need to shut up, man, because like we already knew that you're in the movie, but the only, like, literally the only other thing that could happen to further convince me that Andrew Garfield is in this movie is if, like, literally Kevin Feige like got his cell phone out and went to like Times Square and hit a button, and then it just said Andrew Garfield is in Spider-Man No Way Home on it. It's got big like Andrew Garfield's face on it and everything.
Right?
It's just like, you know, it's just to the, like, I don't know, like, how can you not think that he's in this movie at this point?
Yeah.
Here's my just
It's just
real quick.
comical at this point.
The biggest thing that I'm curious about to see, like, with this movie is, in terms of Garfield and Tobey Maguire being in it, is, are they going to include it in the trailers at all, or is this going to be like their big surprise moment?
I think if anything, we'll see like the mask, or kind of like they did the Zemo holding the mask. That would be kind of the thing I would expect.
I was thinking maybe like the logo, like when they go into the logo, have like all three of their masks pop up or something.
Yeah,
pretty
something
cool.
like that.
I think,
if anything,
you know, I think they should, because everybody already knows, and it would be a really good for marketing. I don't think that they will, because they're like, oh, we gotta keep this big secret, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in this movie. But it's just like, guys, everyone knows. So you might as well use it as a marketing tactic. But I don't think they will. So
they could go one of two ways for it. They could do that, you know, include them in the marketing and everything. They could also focus, because there's still a huge storyline in Spider-Man 3 or No Way Home of Peter being on the run and his identity being known to the world. So that could be a whole movie in and of itself.
It should have been. You know?
I think they could focus on that for the trailers and still keep a lot of the mystery. I mean, the mystery, you know, intact for the time being.
Yeah, and we've said before, we're really interested in that story of him being on the run. So I wouldn't be shocked if they focused on that. And I will say, we do understand why legally he has to deny it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
he's just not good at it.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, a little bit.
You know?
he's
I understand that he can't say yes, but it's just like if you're going to lie.
Do better. I almost feel like Marvel called and just was like, okay, that was not great.
Just Kevin Feige on the phone with Garfield, like, dude, that wasn't great.
Right? That's hard to watch. Maybe just say never or something. That's hard to watch.
Just keep it vague.
Kevin Feige is sitting here going like, what is up with these Spider-Man actors? I swear.
The only one who hasn't said anything is Tobey Maguire. I got to give him credit for that.
We got Tom Holland up in here. We got Alfred Molina, and now Andrew Garfield.
I love the Andrew Garfield one, because it's like, you're mad at him for being not great at denying it. He didn't actually spoil anything. He just
he didn't.
Too hard.
Oh my god! And then Molina just flat out said he's in the movie.
That was amazing. He did a full interview about it.
Like we know that Doc Ock is coming in Spider-Man 3.
But he revealed so much stuff beyond that he didn't need to.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Like, you know, story details, like where where his character is at in the story and everything.
Exactly.
I will give Garfield that at least. But I mean, look, listen, like we know for a fact that Fox and Molina are in this as Electro and Doc Ock respectively, as their original characters. Garfield and Maguire are in this movie. You know,
yeah, I would be more shocked if they're not than if they are at this point.
So, like, I will be absolutely mind blown if we watch Spider-Man in December and I walk out of the theater and there's no Maguire or Garfield. Like,
exactly.
That will shock me more than the half of the Avengers dying in Infinity War.
If that happens, Bryce, I want you to do do a video
a live
of yourself
reaction video
that so we can play that because I will just die of you going, what?
Yeah. No, it'll literally just be me and I'm the only person left in the movie theater and I'm like crying or something.
Yeah. No, if it were me, I'd just be like,
excuse me.
Excuse me, what the hell?
Right. Okay. So that's our big Spider-Man. It's sort of not news, I guess.
Honestly,
never say never, which is just the greatest
until we get a trailer, every bit of Spider-Man news that we do is going to be not news. That's what I'm considering it as.
I just love the never say never because you're like, thanks. That's not helpful too.
You suck, Garfield. You don't actually suck. You're awesome. And we can't wait to see you back Spider-Man again.
Let me be clear. I loved Garfield as Spider-Man. I just didn't like his Peter. I think Maguire had a good Peter, bad Spider-Man. I think Garfield had a bad Peter, good Spider-Man. And Tom Holland is the first one that we've had that was a good both. So
that's exactly my feelings on it. I would have said it if you didn't.
Yeah. So
100%.
There we go.
And then Richard, you got a bit of an update on one of the Marvel movies.
Real quick. Cat Yellow Ranger has something about Spider-Man before we move on from Spider-Man. I think the biggest Spider-Man surprise would be Shinji Toto as one of the Spider-Man. I believe he played Spider-Man in the Japanese.
From like the 70s?
Yeah, the Japanese tokusatsu show.
That would be amazing.
That would be hilarious. I think that would be awesome.
I want the Chris Pine Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. I want the Jake Johnson Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse. And I want the Spider-Man from the PS4 game.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Just give us everybody.
You know what? I think while we're at it, let's throw in Miles, Gwen, everybody else. I mean,
yeah, right.
Like I would love to see them. Just not in this. Like, I wish they would just do it's like Spider-Verse as its own thing. And maybe they are. Maybe this is setting up for Spider-Verse to be the next movie. That would be awesome. But I want to see if they're doing Spider-Verse, I feel like it needs to be with Gwen and Miles. But if this is it, like, and they're doing Spider-Verse right now, that's kind of disappointing that we're not going to get Gwen and Miles, because I love Miles Morales. Gwen is my favorite Spider person, whatever you want to call it.
Spider-Man, Spider-Woman,
so I love Gwen's costume. It's literally it's so dope. I love Spider-Gwen. And so I need to see Spider-Gwen in live action. But right now, if this is Spider-Verse and it doesn't seem like they're doing it, so I don't know, it's kind of disappointing.
Either way, I can't wait for this movie. I mean, it's going to be nuts whatever happens. It's going to
be interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, so we do have a little bit of Blade news. Nothing great, unfortunately. But basically that they said that the movie is going to its filming is going to be delayed until July of 2022.
Wow.
So
Holy
I guess
cow.
we can kiss that October 2022 release date goodbye.
Yeah.
But right now they have the film's writer. They're looking for the director, and this is another really cool one for me too, because
that release date was a rumor, right?
Yeah, it was just a rumor.
Okay. Yeah,
because Marvel has an open release date in October of 2022 with nothing in it yet. Okay. But this is the really cool thing about Blade is that, like, we really don't know anything about this movie. Like, we know Mahershala Ali's going to be in it. We know he's playing Blade. I mean, this is the first Blade movie we've gotten in at least 20 years. I'm really curious to see how they...
You just blew my mind with that. Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, with
Yes.
the Blade trilogy with which ended with
Wesley
Ryan
Snipes.
Reynolds in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Wesley Snipes,
honestly,
Ryan Reynolds.
yeah, it will probably, because that came out in 2004. It probably will be like really close to 20 years. That's crazy.
Yeah,
The good side of the fact that it's delayed, though, is it gives them more time to do like a really solid script.
yeah, for sure.
Because if they were going to be filming in July, it's not a huge amount of time unless it's done, which I don't
Right,
think.
yeah.
We have no information on that at all, but I would assume it's not.
I mean, they announced it 2 years ago almost. I think it was Comic-Con 2019.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that was like one of the big things.
But they didn't have the writer right away by then, I don't think.
No, yeah, they only had the writer, I think, earlier this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember like that was right after I started writing in the first place, like maybe a month or two after, and that was like some of the biggest Marvel news that we've gotten in recent years.
Yeah, so bummer that it's delayed, but also awesome that they have more time to really make sure the script is solid. They have time to find a director, and they are like, so that's really exciting to me. It means that it's not something
for sure.
that's going to feel rushed,
Yeah, definitely not, because it's not coming out till 2023 at the earliest, maybe 2024.
Yeah, for sure. And this is like, I mean, it's exciting. We're getting to explore kind of more of that magical side of Marvel, but
yeah, supernatural.
Like freaking vampires, man.
The MCU is bringing vampires into play. I mean, like we said, they can do anything they want now.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah, we're excited for Blade. Like we said, good and bad about this news, but we're hoping that we're gonna have a really, really great script because of that.
And the great thing is, even though it's gonna be a while until Blade, we still have 20-something projects.
Oh,
together.
yeah.
We're in no lack of Marvel content before that. We're in lack of Blade, but we're gonna be fine for the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's not us going, oh man, that means there's no movie next year. Like, no, that's not what's happening.
We're getting a Disney Plus show in a month, another movie in a month after that. We're gonna be fine for the next couple of years.
100%. And then some other Marvel news, which again is not huge, but Loki's gonna be on Wednesdays.
Yes.
Me and Richard are really excited about that.
Oh yeah. 2 nights where we're up till 2 a.m. Yay!
Hey, it's not like it's back to back though.
Well,
in between.
That's true.
Yeah, and also on this news, can I just say Tom Holland's video revealing this was absolutely perfect. I love Tom Holland and everything. Hiddleston, yes.
Yeah.
There's 2 British Tom H's in the MCU, and that's just ridiculous.
You're not even counting all the Chris's.
Oh God, exactly.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so Loki is going to be on Wednesdays, which I mean makes our lives for the watch along a lot easier.
For sure, yeah.
I think that's our major news on that. We're excited about it.
It's really interesting. I wonder what the reasoning behind this is. Like, do you think this is so they don't have Marvel and Star Wars on the same day, or do you think Disney Plus as a whole is kind of spacing out their release schedule?
That's my best bet.
I think they're going to be spacing out their really big stuff. Like, I think kind of the major ones are Star Wars and Marvel that they're going to space out. Some of the other stuff that's on there, it's not really as problematic if Star Wars clashes with, like, I don't know, Mighty Ducks or something. You're not like, you just killed our audience, So I think
as great as Mighty Ducks is and everything.
Yeah, I think it has more to do with that. I think Loki specifically also might have to do with the fact that Black Widow's coming out at the same time. Yeah. So if you have Loki go up and Black Widow go up, most people are going to pick the one that is not $30. For
sure, yeah. And then I'll be curious to see too, like if they keep up with this through the rest of the Marvel shows, because we've got Shang-Chi's coming out in September, Eternals is in November, and we still have at least 2 Disney Plus shows that likely will be kind of overlapping with that.
Yeah, I would like it if Marvel went back to Fridays after Bad Batch ended, but then when Boba Fett comes on, we're assuming it's going to be at the same time as, I think, Hawkeye, we've said.
Yeah, I think so.
Again, that's us making an assumption that's not based on anything other than...
Yeah, because we still don't know when, what if Miss Marvel or Hawkeye
I think they're going to stick to Wednesdays. I think, you're not going to change the day and get everybody used to this new day just to change it back once Star Wars is gone. Because they literally said it. Wednesdays are the new Fridays. So it sounds like that this is kind of a change that's here to stay. It's like we just changed the time slot of this show, but it's just like if the conflict that I have goes away, we're not going to just change it back, right? This is our new time slot. This is what we're going with. And so,
yeah.
My only argument with that is, like, Loki is 6 episodes, so people getting used to it being on Wednesdays. I don't think that'd be a much of an issue if all of a sudden the next one
but
was
we don't
on
know
Fridays.
when What If is coming out. That could be like the week after Loki,
Yeah.
I don't think it. I'm guessing it's not, but it very much could be.
And then also too, I was just thinking, like, just for logistic wise, there's nothing between Bad Batch and Boba right now, is there?
For Star Wars, no.
Yeah, nothing new. Yeah. So
nothing that's been announced, and I assume it would have been.
I still think
so.
that this is kind of them looking ahead, going, okay, 2022 is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
very much so.
That's why I think they're going to keep it.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. 100% in 2022, and if they want to just make it like the ongoing thing, then I totally see that too.
I could totally see that happening. Marvel's on Wednesdays and Star Wars on Fridays.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, both of them have, Marvel's got 12 projects coming out next year. Star Wars has a solid, 5 or 6, so.
Yeah. And that's what we know about. I mean, Star Wars, who knows? They could be doing secret stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, Marvel could be doing secret stuff, too, that gets announced, the day that a Disney Plus series ends. A la Captain America 4.
You remember whenever we were supposed to get a Rebels sequel? So.
Well, that got morphed into Ahsoka.
Well, as far as we know, that's just kind of speculation, right?
I think it's like speculation, but also I
could see it being true. But...
Kessel Run transmission, I think, has talked about it. I might be wrong on that.
Yeah. But yeah, big news from that is Loki's on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So we'll have 2 watch-alongs during the week when Loki's going.
That both me and Caitlin are on.
Well, and then 3 the week that Black Widow. No, you can. Well, actually, will you do?
I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing.
I haven't heard anything.
You would be able to, because it's going to be on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. Sure.
I don't know if we're going to be doing it for the movies or not, but definitely for the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, like we said, that's our big Loki news, and then there's a very, very cool rumor floating around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely an interesting one. So Daniel Rickman, insider Daniel Rickman, on his Patreon page said that at some point in the future, no specifics, there's going to be a Marvel villain named Shuma Gorath that's going to be introduced into an upcoming Marvel project. Now, for those of you who don't know who Shuma Gorath is, which was me until about a few days ago.
And me. like we were talking about in our meeting yesterday, and I thought I was like having a stroke. Like, just like, what did you just say? Like, Shuma, what?
Exactly.
Like...
So the gist of it is Shuma Gorath is a Doctor Strange villain. So our best bet is probably somewhere in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. He's depicted as this green, one-eyed octopus, or a cycloptopus, if you want to call him that.
He's very Cthulhu.
Yeah, very Cthulhu. Yeah, exactly. And he's described as like an ancient demon with supernatural powers, sometimes omnipotent, ruling over these multiple dimensions over hundreds of thousands of years. Now, we obviously have no clue when specifically he's going to arrive. Doctor Strange would be a good place for him, since he's...
Strange 2 makes the most sense because, like Richard said, it's dealing with multiverse stuff, as is Doctor Strange 2. It's a Doctor Strange villain. So there's a lot of pieces there that it makes sense for that to be the case.
Yep.
And also, like, I don't know exactly what other movie he would be in, personally. And so this honestly just feels like the right fit.
Yeah. Marvel's at the point now where they can bring a one-eyed green octopus into play and nobody's going to bat an eye.
There we go. Donnie Pearson.
You all were worried about Mephisto? We got Shuma Gorath coming.
Oh my God.
Donnie Pearson's in the chat. He says, I'm looking forward to Loki and the season 2 premiere of High School Musical, the series. You know what, guys? I think we found out why they moved Loki. It's High School Musical. Yep. It's
the musical of the series.
Yeah.
Such a weird title.
They didn't want to conflict with High School Musical. So actually I did watch season 1 and I didn't hate it. Because I watched High School Musical as a kid. Like, that was my childhood. Like, I drug my mom to the store the day High School Musical 3 came out on DVD to the day it came out, so I could watch it.
Nice.
So So
Yeah.
no, I was a huge High School Musical fan as a kid, and I don't hate the show either. So,
Yeah.
but there we
But
go.
Why is it
agreed
called
on
the
the
musical? Is it
Yeah, so
what?
the first season it's a mockumentary, kind of like The Office. And so
Okay.
it takes place in the real world school that the movie was shot at. And at the real world school, they were
Oh,
doing High
okay.
School the Musical as their school musical.
All right.
So
Okay.
it's
Cool.
High School Musical the musical, the series.
That's really
Okay.
trippy. Thank
That
you
Yeah.
for
is trippy.
explaining that.
Yeah.
And agreed on your sentiments about Loki. I mean, as great as WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier are, I can't wait for Loki. Loki's gonna be nuts.
Loki's gonna be weird. I'm looking
And
forward to weird.
all for it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and just give us more Tom Hiddleston as Loki, because he's like, that's just one of Marvel's many examples of perfect actor to character match.
Yeah. And I think going back to the Shumagorath thing, and even honestly the Spider-Man stuff, like it really feels like it's this kind of tiny trilogy of WandaVision, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. So I think that will be really interesting. If he is the like in Doctor Strange 2, is that going to come into play in Spider-Man? And so there's a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah, I am really excited about that strange little trilogy that we're getting, like from 3 different franchises. I mean, obviously Wanda's going to be in 2 of them, Doctor Strange is going to be in 2 of them. But it's going to be weird, it's going to be crazy, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about it, I think last week, that Kevin Feige confirmed that Doctor Strange was supposed to be in WandaVision.
Yeah, for the commercials.
Yeah. So that would have been cool. I'm hoping they address that. That'd be nice.
Yeah, which was a cool plot point, but I'm okay with how they did it too.
But yeah, so our biggest stuff with Shumagorath is we're thinking Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, Marvel is just going full on crazy in Phase 4.
Yeah, pretty much.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then we have another rumor.
What?
That looks pretty cool for Marvel.
Yeah, so Eternals 2 is in development, I guess. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I've kind of talked about here on the show how I'm pretty excited for the Eternals with how much Kevin Feige has been praising it. And so it seems like with Eternals 2 already in development, it seems that Marvel and Disney are pretty happy with the first Eternals. So they're already moving forward to looking at making a second one.
I will also say that doesn't seem like a shock because can you guys name a Marvel movie that's been a single thing and not had any sequels?
Outside of Incredible Hulk, but that's for, rights issues.
That's business issues, but
exactly.
Yeah, so that it's not shocking that that's a rumor going around.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to be more curious because it's a big cast in Marvel. So I'm curious to see if we're going to be following all of them the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge cast that we're dealing with. I mean, there's 10 or 12, main characters in this movie, and almost all of them are played by Hollywood megastars.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not one of those that you're kind of like, oh, I know them from somewhere.
Exactly. This has Jon Snow, Angelina Jolie, Kumail Nanjiani. I mean,
Jon Snow.
Yeah. Hey, my first Kid Harington thing is actually How to Train Your Dragon, so I'm in the minority there. Eret, son of Eret.
Dig it.
But yeah, I mean, this movie's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
And we get Gemma Chan in her second MCU role, so that's gonna be really interesting.
I hope they reference it. I hope so bad they reference it in some way, even if it's a joke. You remind me of someone.
Right. For sure.
Oh man, that would be hilarious. So that is our big Marvel news for the, I guess, short week from last
Yeah, for Marvel. Yeah, those were after the week we had before that.
Right?
There we
so
go.
On the DC side of stuff, we've got some news on the TV side, and we've got some news on the film side. So that is pretty cool.
Before we go into that, real quick, just another quick reminder that we do have a super chat feature here on the channel. So obviously we're going to be reading chat throughout the show, but if you want to guarantee that your message will be read, or if you have a special topic suggestion that you want us to talk about, the super chat is a great way to do that. It helps with the show and the channel a ton. But yeah, let's move on to DC.
For sure.
All right, our first big news is for the CW series The Flash, one of my favorites over on the CW. We've got some sad news and we've got some cool news. On the sad front, it looks like Tom Cavanaugh and Carlos Valdez are officially leaving The Flash. Cavanaugh was planning to leave, I think, after 6, and then COVID happened, so he had to pop up for a bit in 7, but we haven't really seen him much after that. And then Carlos Valdez, who plays Cisco, is going to be leaving after, I think, this season. So definitely a bummer because Cisco's freaking awesome. And the many, many wells are always a treat. So I'm sad but not shocked because it's 7 years. That's kind of a normal contract for a lot of people in TV. They've introduced characters like Chester, who have kind of he can take over the science and comedy that Cisco is really known for.
Yeah.
So not a shock, but definitely disappointed. On the happier side, we got our first set photos of Bart Allen in Flash 150th episode.
Oh my gosh, he looks awesome.
Pretty cool costume.
Yeah, for sure.
And according to the actor who plays Bart Allen, it looks like we're going to be seeing not only Bart, but we're going to see some familiar faces in the 150th episode, which includes Nora Allen, who, if you're a fan of The Flash, you know she kind of got erased from existence. So I'm really curious of how that's going to work out. Because last time we saw her, she literally dematerialized.
Well, isn't The Flash great at just changing timelines and everything? So
yeah, but crisis happened, so there's not multiple Earths and stuff. I don't know. It'll be a thing that I'm excited to see. And it also looks like we're gonna get Jay Garrick, who is a Flash from another Earth. And as I just said, those aren't supposed to exist, so I'm not sure how that works out.
Well, yeah, they are. They were set up at the end of Crisis. But they
aren't the Earths that had the characters from the Flash.
Yeah, but we know that Earth 2 is going to have John Wesley Shipp, Jay Garrick, on Stargirl. So we know that exists. And there are other Earths. It's just, they might not be on the same Earth, or it might be slightly different. Because, in Earth Prime, the events of Earth 138 and Black Lightning still happened.
Yeah.
So it's not like, none of this stuff ever happened. It's just now.
For sure.
So things just got shifted around.
I think one of my favorite reactions in Crisis was Cisco freaking out afterwards and then being like, I don't know where I got this shirt, and it's the Superman emblem.
Oh my god.
I don't remember buying this.
Wow.
Oh man. But it really is a shame because those are definitely probably the best characters on that show, and now both of them are leaving at the same time. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not shocked, but I'm definitely disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not even just DC. That seems like a lot of the kind of run times for a lot of these comic book shows. Arrow was 8 years, Shield ran for 7 years on the Marvel side. So
somehow
I think, I know. Damn good job there. I love season 7 personally, but
I am not knocking it. Very good job that you did 7 seasons. I said somehow because Marvel did not help you in tying anything.
No. That thing was not canon after about season 3 or 4 with the MCU. But still love it. I'm an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. But regardless, I don't know how much longer Flash is going to run, especially with 2 big names like that leaving. But
we know there's at least one more season.
Yeah, wasn't season 8 confirmed?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, maybe it'll end after that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it ended after that. Bryce did point out when that got announced that they didn't say it was the final season. Yeah. So
and usually they do.
Arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did it with Arrow, they did it with Supergirl, they did it with Black Lightning. So.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So I wouldn't be shocked if it got revealed, but I also wouldn't be shocked if it didn't. It's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, it seems like the Arrowverse is kind of closer to the end than maybe not.
Which isn't also that also isn't shocking because you have HBO Max with the DC stuff now, so shifting over there kind of makes sense.
For sure.
It's gonna be a bummer for the CW since that's half their content.
Yeah, right. That's a huge portion of their viewership.
Yeah. But there's also I'm really curious how they're gonna bring back Nora because like I said, she doesn't exist anymore technically. But if they're gonna have Nora and Bart, is Nora from a different timeline, or are they actually twins? What's going on with that? Jay Garrick, is he gonna be from the Stargirl Earth, or is he Jay Garrick that we know from Earth? I think 3. Like,
well, again,
so,
I think it's going to be some sort of convergence. I think it will be still the Jarek from the Jay Garrick from Earth 3, but instead now he's on Earth 2, which is more comic book accurate.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
he was a member of the Justice Society. So I
isn't
think it's
he
still going to
supposed to
be
be?
Jay Garrick, but
But
just
isn't
now
he
on Earth
supposed to
2.
be dead on Earth too? Like, didn't they all get killed?
Yeah, but that was the previous Earth 2.
True. We don't know how it
You
affected
know.
Stargirl yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is
Well,
the problem too with a
here's the
lot
Yeah.
of
other.
these.
Well, I will say Stargirl premiered after Crisis, so Stargirl, as far as we know, it wasn't changed.
Right, but still, I mean, it like, how Supergirl and Black Lightning were able to converge into Earth Prime. I could totally see them, just kind of converging what was Earth 3 with Jay Garrick and then just putting it together and then having the Stargirl universe with the
Yeah.
Justice Society and all that.
Yeah, maybe.
And this is the problem too with a lot of these comic book shows. Eventually, if you go enough seasons, you're going to go into time travel. You're going to go into these multiple, dimensions and Earths and all this stuff.
Flash did this stuff in season 1 and 2. Are you kidding
Well,
me?
yeah, there's that.
No, the
Yeah,
Crisis
Flashpoint was
the
season
part that-
3, but it was only
Yeah.
like one episode, and all they really changed was a little bit of stuff in the Flash, and then they made John Diggle's daughter his son.
Yeah.
And
affected like the bad guys for the rest of the season, and
Yeah.
we got evil
Yeah.
Mary Allen and all this other crazy nonsense.
Well, they're also doing it in the Flash's first movie in the DCEU, which is probably going to reset the entire friggin' franchise. So
yeah,
well,
that's
There
a
we go.
whole nother
Can
basket
of
of
worms.
crazy. Let's not even get into.
yeah, no, we
But
got
yeah.
we got enough to get into that.
So yeah, that's our big Flash news. Sadly, we're losing a couple cast members. We're having some people return, and like you guys said, the costume for Bart Allen looks pretty cool.
yeah, it looks
I'm
real.
loving this new era of comic accurate comic book costume from DC.
It looks
and
like
Marvel.
it comes straight from the books. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Solid.
So I can't wait for the Flash's 150th episode.
Mhm.
If I remember
Yeah.
correctly, Arrow's 100th or 150th episode, whichever it was, happened during one of the major crossovers. So since we're not
Right.
having that, I'm happy to see it'll actually only be focused on the Flash instead of trying
Stand
to
on its own.
fit it into. They did it. They did pull it off, but it was a little like, okay, we need to
dicey.
fit this in and have it be Arrow-centric and also have an alien like reason behind it. It worked, but it definitely was one of those moments where you were like, wow, all right, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is our
Oh,
big CW Flash news, and we've got some now cool news on the film side of DC as well.
So
Not something I usually say.
Right.
So, yeah, this is kind of interesting. This is kind of a weird subject. So, obviously, it was announced that J.J. Abrams is doing a new Superman movie, and it's going to involve a black Superman. And so, at that point, I think it was me and a lot of fans were like, okay, cool. I mean, it would have been nice to have a Henry Cavill movie, but that's cool. We're gonna be introducing a new character because there are a bunch of I think multiple black Superman characters in the comics.
Yeah,
one of
the
which
two that I know are Calvin Ellis and Val
yeah.
Zord.
So basically,
Colin.
Zod, I think. Zod, I think.
most people were speculating that it'd be Calvin Ellis. Now it's coming out saying that now the Superman in this movie will be Clark Kent. So now it's just what's going on? Like,
So Henry Cavill's just done.
I guess,
Well,
because I was really
DC
looking forward to it because that was really good crossover potential. They can bring in this new Superman and then also have Henry Cavill's Superman show up as like a cameo role, and I was like, okay, that'd be really cool. Have like a 2 Superman team up. That would be a really freaking awesome movie. But now,
Right.
because people want Henry Cavill, they went like, okay, so what's something that we could do to make sure that they never get Henry Cavill because they want him? Okay, we'll make a reboot, recast Clark Kent, and so I don't know. I was one of the people who was really looking forward to this movie. I thought it'd be really cool to have this different version of Superman, Calvin Ellis. He was like the president of the United States. So that would have been a really interesting storyline. But now they won't. So now I guess they're just going back and using Clark Kent. So
there is also the possibility that it is DC, so you do have this multiverse stuff that's going to
Yeah.
get introduced in Flash. So I wouldn't necessarily count Henry Cavill out all the way. I understand the disappointment because it would have been cool to introduce these new characters that are
Yes.
Superman.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
do understand the other side of it of Superman's an alien, dude. There's nothing that says he has to be white. So
right, for sure, and I
Yeah.
get that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then the other piece of it is he is this established character. So having representation in a character that's established like this, I also find to be important. I think they should introduce new characters that are more
Yeah.
diverse. I
Oh, yeah.
also all for having established characters be more diverse because I think both sides of that are important. I'm excited about it. Like I said, it would have been cool to introduce a new character that's Superman because they wouldn't have been as well known. But I also understand it from the perspective of maybe they were hesitant to do a less well known Superman because that would have been a little difficult for some of the average viewers to maybe
I
jump
don't know.
into.
I
Yeah.
think Superman is Superman. I think it's pretty clear. You know, I mean, I definitely understand the representation thing. I just think I think it would have been, and obviously this is coming from a white dude, so don't take my word for anything. But I felt like, you know, it would have been better representation to introduce someone brand new, someone we've never met, you know. And so because then now we're gonna get people going like, Clark Kent can't be Clark Kent can't be black, he's white, you know. And so, but if you introduce a
I
new
mean, I think
character,
you're
I
going to
don't
get
think
that either way.
but I think if you introduce a new character, it would have been less like that because this isn't Clark Kent. You know, this is a completely different person. You know, and so I think, you know, I think the backlash, whatever you want to call it, would have been lesser because, you know, you see Miles Morales and everybody loves Miles Morales. He's a brand new character. They did a really good job with that. Sam Wilson, Captain America. He it's not like they're trying to make him Steve Rogers. He's a brand new version of Captain America, and there's that. So I
Yeah.
felt like, you know, that would have been a really cool way to have handled this with Superman, bring in this different version, Calvin Ellis. He's the president of the United States. That would have been a really crazy storyline.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like th're doing that. So we'll
I
have to
mean,
wait and see.
like I said,
I like J.J. Abrams. I love most everything that he's done. So I'm definitely still looking forward to the movie. I think it'll still be a good movie. It's just kind of, you know, I really want it to be Calvin Ellis. So
yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of it. I think, like I said, introducing the new character who's already established in the comics would have been interesting. I also understand it from the side of people that only know Kal-El as Superman. I could see maybe being a little hesitant to see this movie. So I understand that from that marketing perspective. I also, like I said before, think it's important to have representation with new
Sure.
characters, but
Yeah.
also with well-established characters.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see all perspectives on this.
I just think for me the biggest thing that, and it's not like I'm against the concept of it. They have a perfectly good Superman sitting right there at their disposal
Yeah.
in Henry Cavill, who I think has done a good job when he's, you know, given the right material, and they're just kind of not doing anything with them for some
pretty much
reason.
it for me as well. You know.
Yeah, like I mean, if they
besides
wanted
the
to-
keyboard warriors that we're gonna have, that's a really big issue because I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, not everybody, but most a lot of people love Henry Cavill as Superman. So
he's
No,
not
he
a
does-
bad Superman.
He
Yeah,
does good when he's given good stuff. I will
Exactly.
100% agree with that.
exactly.
I will also say though, it looks like it might end up being a 20th century period piece. So that could be interesting on two fronts. It also has a possibility of, like I said, it could be an alternate Earth. It could also be set way before Henry Cavill Superman. So could
We'll
play
see.
with that. Yeah,
We'll
there's
see.
a lot of possibilities. Like, I'm excited for it. I don't mind it. I understand the
Yeah.
disappointment of I wanted this character to be one of the comic book established ones because that's what I assumed would happen, and I thought
Yeah.
that would have been really cool. I understand from a marketing perspective the concern of people won't know this character. I think the
Yeah.
Superman brand is big enough to overcome that issue, but
Yeah.
and
it's DC.
yeah, and I totally understand that the having diversity in well established characters because back whenever these characters were being introduced, there were no black superheroes,
Yeah,
because it
100%.
Right, for sure.
wasn't okay back then, which
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
They were
But
developed in the 30s.
so
yeah.
I definitely do see that side of things. It's just, again, Henry Cavill is a great Superman. He wants to be Superman. He wants to play Superman. The fans want to see him as Superman, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't really seem like Warner gives a crap.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking forward to the movie. I think it's gonna be great. But go ahead, Richard.
My favorite thing is when Marvel snatches him up for literally
Yep.
anything, and then they get to like give the giant middle finger to DC, like,
Yep.
You could have done something with him, but we're gonna make him awesome.
And it sounds like it's probably coming soon too. So.
And jumping back on the established characters, bringing more diverse established characters, they did that in the Flash series with Iris West.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, for sure.
It's not unprecedented. It's also something that works well because that didn't change the character in any way but positive, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like I said, I'm excited about the movie. I do sort of wish, like, the Henry Cavill thing has kind of not really been on my radar as much because I personally was not a huge fan of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Come at me.
Yeah.
But
hey, you know what?
I liked
totally get
but
it.
I don't. I'm not.
I think it's. I just think it's one of the better DCEU movies. Let's say.
I like it, but I'm not going to defend it to my grave.
I know.
So
I'm not disagreeing with you there for 1 second.
Wait, what was it?
That the DCU bar isn't very high.
Oh, yeah.
Because that bar is so high.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I thought he did well enough to not be thrown aside like he.
I liked him when he got the kryptonite staff. That is when he started feeling like Superman to me. And
yeah, that was cool.
And be Superman, which is probably the only part of that movie I like.
Right. Oh God.
Oh man.
Before we dive into that rabbit hole, let's move on. I think kind of the takeaway for there is like Black Superman. It looks like they're going to be going with kind of the traditional Kryptonian Kal-El stuff. I'm curious if they're going to stick with Clark Kent as his alias, or maybe they will use the Calvin Ellis as his alias and have it be more Kal-El based origin. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it with whatever they do. And then, I mean, we have some other fun DC news. Thank you, Cat Yellow Ranger. He said, or they said that they didn't like Man of Steel either. I feel
yeah, and like I'll say this, there are probably at least 20 MCU movies I'd take over Man of Steel. Like
I would take all of them.
I said at least 20, so out of 20.
I would take Thor Dark World.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's cold, B.
Darcy Lewis, man. I mean, she's in it a very short amount of time, but I'll take it.
Yeah. I'll say this. I liked I enjoyed Lawrence Fishburne more in Ant-Man and the Wasp than I did in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole. But
oh man, yeah. But in the kind of more Gotham-y realm, we've got some fun news too.
Yeah.
The Batman stuff I'm thinking we're talking about.
Are we doing that right now, or are we doing Joker first?
Let's hit Joker first, because that's short.
All right.
Yeah,
fair enough.
We got some Joker news.
Sort of.
It's kind of been talked about in the past, but apparently Joaquin Phoenix Joker sequel is still in development.
Yeah.
Yippee.
That's pretty much the news.
I loved Joker. Let me make that clear. I thought it was an amazing movie. It definitely deserved the awards it received. I don't think it needs a sequel. I think they closed it where it needed to be closed. The story's done. Why keep going?
Why? Money.
Yes. Obviously, yes. But
another $1 billion.
Yeah. But it's just like, if they announce Joker 2, I'll be like, okay, I don't care. Yeah. I loved, and let me be clear, I loved the first Joker. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. But it does not need a sequel. So that's it. that's
Yeah.
kind of all I got for that. That's
I'd be more excited if they were developing more of those solo movies around Batman villains, because I think Batman villains are very, very intriguing. So I would be more interested if we were getting a Mr. Freeze or a Clayface.
That'd be
movie.
awesome.
I heard at one point they were thinking about developing maybe a Bane solo movie. That would have been been kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean,
I love with Tom Hardy, bring him back. He's like, I'm going to break your back, Batman.
I was born in it. I'll say that's one of the harder voices for me to do is Tom Hardy's
my
Bane.
favorite Bane is the Harley Quinn animated one.
Yeah, I do love what they did with him in Lego Batman. That was pretty entertaining.
But yeah, I did not see Joker. I don't know. I like
neither
Joker.
Neither is Cat Yellow Ranger.
Man, we're on like the same wavelength here, dude.
Yeah.
I find Joker interesting when up against someone like Batman. I find Joker solo freaking terrifying.
I think Joker definitely wasn't for everybody. I think for people looking for the comic book, version of Joker, this movie definitely is not for you. For someone looking for an Oscar-worthy period piece, just like a movie, I think this was great.
Yeah, so, it was like an art film comic book movie.
Yeah.
Also,
so I think for somebody looking at it as an art form, I think this was a beautiful movie. But for somebody looking for a Joker movie, I can see why people could be strayed away or turned off from it.
Yeah. Also, Donnie Pierce in the chat said, "What I love about Man of Steel is its kick butt score by Hans Zimmer."
That's totally fair.
That I will totally give you. Hans Zimmer is one of my favorite composers ever, and he did a damn good score for Man of Steel. That's a fun one to listen to.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I would be more excited if they were going to dive into the other, because Batman has really cool rogues.
Yeah,
he has probably the best rogues gallery in comics
for sure.
Yeah. And if they dove into that, and the other thing to do with that is really kind of establish how messed up Gotham is, and kind of how it fails. Because I know a really big part of Joker was the failure of the mental health institution. So showing that in different ways would be really interesting. And that
I hope they go into that into the Gotham PD series that they're doing, the one that's spin-off of the Batman.
The one that they made really, really clear is not just Gotham 2.0. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that one.
They're like, it's
higher budget Gotham.
Right? They're like, it's not, we swear. Which
we swear to God.
It probably
Guys,
isn't.
I can't wait till we get another Joker in Robert Pattinson's Batman series.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have,
who are we going to get to play him this time?
Do you think it would be that they would, because I know that there were theories that they were going to pull Joaquin Phoenix's Joker
I hope
in.
not.
Okay.
I do not want that. I want Joker to be Joker. I don't want that to be connected to any. I don't want sequels. I don't want to be connected to the Batman. I want nothing. I want this to be a standalone period piece story, case closed, end of story, the end, wrap it up.
Its own thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would like it more if it became like a franchise, like we were saying.
Yeah.
It was Batman.
But I think they should do that. If they want to do a Joker franchise or a Rose Gallery franchise, do it with a different Joker.
Yeah.
I don't think this Joker should be franchised.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. I think it should be a Batman Rogues Gallery franchise where we get
I'd be down for that, yeah.
Riddler, we get Clayface, because Clayface is really freaking cool, and so is Mr. Freeze. There's those villains. If you watch the Batman animated series, those are kind of the backstories I'm really interested in, because they're so sad.
Yeah, a Mr. Freeze movie would be awesome. And they could bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh my God. Yeah, hell, bring back Jim Carrey as the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face again. See how that works out.
Two-Face movie. I would love a Two-Face movie.
That would be cool.
I would be down for bringing Aaron Eckhart back for that, because he actually did a solid Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, he was awesome.
I mean, Dark Knight is just one of the best comic book movies ever. So,
Cat Yellow Ranger said they find it interesting that DC is going the Disney route, giving villains movies. I think DC's got solid villains.
absolutely.
We've said, Batman has some of the best villains. They're solid villains that can stand on their own, especially with their tragic origin stories. Because the Batman villains, for the most part, their origins are sad. They're tragic.
Yeah.
They're exactly that you can dive into.
The funny thing with that is, I think the only kind of comic book line that rivals that, it would be Spider-Man, and we're seeing that with Spider-Man as well, with Venom and Morbius and maybe
Yeah.
even Craven.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
Sony's doing it.
hmm So it's
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
cool to
Spider-Man
see,
and Spider-Man and Batman have the two, I think, best rogues
for
galleries
sure,
in
without a
all
doubt.
of comics.
Also, if you're going to try and go up against Marvel's like decade-long established history and their who knows how long like plan,
Yeah,
go with stuff like solo rogue gallery movies and like solo movies
totally.
that establish characters and you build off of. I think the biggest issue with DC was they tried to build too fast.
Yeah.
They tried to copy what Marvel was doing at half the pace or
Mhm.
double the pace.
In like 3 movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they did Man of Steel and then Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman was the equivalent of Civil War, which was the MCU's 13th movie.
Yeah.
They'd already been doing it for, what, 8 years at that point?
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
Justice League was supposed to be like their Infinity War and Endgame.
Talk about Endgame, all right.
Oh,
But
man.
Yeah.
So
Oof,
that is our
That was a good one, man.
Mustache
that was-
Gate 2017.
so that is our 2 cents on kind of the Joker, what we think should happen.
Right.
Because like we said, Hollywood Reporter said it's still in development. Okay. Like,
Yeah. Whatever.
Who knows? We
Great.
will see what happens with DC.
yeah. And then on kind of the flip side, we got some Batman news.
Yes, some actually pretty exciting news. I mean, before we get into this, the Batman is actually probably one of my higher anticipated DC films out of the ones that are coming out in the next couple of years. I think
I'm pretty excited for most DC films. I'm not super invested in The Flash just because I'm not someone that's super invested in the Snyderverse. I'm
Fair
interested
enough.
they're doing the Michael Keaton stuff to set up the live action Batman Beyond because that'd be freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be cool.
for sure.
But like
I mean, yeah.
Shazam 2, Aquaman 2, Black Adam, Batman, I'm pretty down for all of those.
I mean, this is
Suicide
the
Squad.
this is the most excited I've been about the DC slate in a good few years. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
props to them on that. I hope it turns out good. But our big news on the Batman is that we got some of our first leak at promotional interviews from the movie focused on Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. So the director Matt Reeves is talking about how he wanted to kind of avoid the Batman origin story, but
Totally fair because
Yeah.
everyone does that.
exactly.
It's kind of like what we did with not us, but Marvel did with Tom Holland's Superman. We didn't, or not Superman, I'm sorry,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. We didn't
Yeah.
see him become Spider-Man. We didn't see the whole Uncle Ben thing. He just
Uncle Ben
was
has died.
Spider-Man.
Uncle Ben has died enough on screen, and so have Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Right? Yeah. That alone is kind of intriguing to me where they're like, okay, everyone knows this. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that they're going that route. Like, we don't need to see Batman's parents die again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
being
and
said,
I
there
mean,
could be flashbacks we don't know.
Well, that's what they did with Batman vs Superman. I mean, they started off with Batman having been Batman for a long time, but we still got the Thomas and Martha Wayne scene anyway.
Sorry, I'll never forgive him for that ever.
What are the bats that made him flat? Go ahead.
It was a dream.
No, the thing that got me before we go on was the bats making him fly
It
out
was
of
a
that
dream,
goddamn
okay? It was a
throat.
dream.
Just
That doesn't excuse it, Bryce. It was not good.
I'm gonna go down a bat hole of just craziness.
So,
Bat-hole.
the Batman movie.
Yes. Yeah. No. Again, very excited for the Batman movies. So yeah. So basically, it's Zoe Kravitz and Matt Reeves talking about this new version of Selena Kyle Catwoman. Is describing her as someone who wants to fight for those who can't fight for other people, representing, her as somewhat of a savior. And I mean, I think that's the really cool thing about this movie is that, like, we've gotten the Batman origin story before a few times, but I think this is going to be a different kind of origin story where he's already been Batman for just a little bit, but he's still in his early days. And I think that'll be kind of the same with Catwoman.
This is like year 2 for Batman because Gotham's going to be year 1, right?
I think so. Yeah, one of those two. I'm not sure if they switched around, but yeah. And then
I know Gotham is before.
Right, for sure, the Gotham PD.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I think it's gonna be the same thing with Catwoman, because like when we saw her in The Dark Knight Rises with Anne Hathaway playing her, she was already very well established. She was like solidly Catwoman.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely interested to see this new version of her.
Well, I'm curious if that's going to be the case with all the villains. Like, I mean, Penguin, I think, will already be established as kind of a mob boss. That wouldn't be shocking.
For
sure. If any of the villains were very well established, Penguin would make the most sense.
Definitely. I mean, it's Colin Farrell, so.
Yeah, but I'm curious if, like, because we're getting that creepy ass Riddler. So I'm curious if that's going to be kind of a different, because if we're going to go with kind of that origin of that Riddler in this movie, too.
Yeah, I mean, the Riddler's going to be crazy in this one.
Real quick, back to Penguin for a second. I think the Batman probably needs to win the Academy Award for Best Makeup for Colin Farrell's Penguin. I mean, holy crap.
He is not recognizable.
Yeah.
No.
That is amazing.
That's some solid work there.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I mean, honestly, like I am betting right now it would probably be the 2023 Oscars. They're winning. They're winning Best Makeup. I'm calling it right here, right now.
And I'll give the movie this. The fact that they made a trailer that cool with only 25% of the movie shot, I mean, that's some impressive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's for sure one of those, like, oh, damn, you got a plan, all right.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we've barely seen anything else from the rest of the shoot.
Yeah. And in the leaked interviews, there was also some footage of Kravitz being Catwoman. So that was fun. For sure. It wasn't anything super crazy, but I mean, I'm all for seeing a little bit more of this movie. Like we said, we've seen only like pieces of 25% of it. So.
Right. And then and Zoe Kravitz, if I'm not mistaken, was in the more recent X-Men movies too, right? So she's got some experience, I think.
100% sure.
Let me look.
Yeah, I feel like she was like I can't remember who she played,
but let me look.
Yeah. But she's getting some experience in the comic book movie realm, so I'm excited to see her.
Because we're all such Dark Phoenix fans, we were super aware of that.
Well, there's that. Just disaster.
She was in Fantastic Beasts, but I don't think she was in X-Men.
Okay.
So maybe that's where you recognize her from.
You confused Harry Potter with X-Men.
Wow.
Oh no! Yep. Richard, you're right. She was in First Class as Angel.
That's what I thought. I thought she was in one of the new ones. Yep. I was gonna say I did not mix up X-Men with Harry Potter. Thank you very much.
Vindication.
Yeah, Cat Yellow Ranger also says. Yeah, Cat Yellow Ranger also says that she was in First Class. So there you go.
I finally got to bust out the captain hold on this show. I'm so happy.
Oh no.
Oh man, yeah. I think, like I said before, I mean, we're obviously really excited about the Marvel stuff coming up. We're obviously really excited about Star Wars, and like Bryce, I'm not shocked as excited about DC. But me and Rich, and I've always been pretty into the DC TV side, but I'm actually really, really kind of excited about most of the DC movie side too. Like Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad. We've talked about the Batman. I'm really excited that we're getting a Batman that's more detective-y.
Yeah, it's gonna be
definitely
sick. Like that's gonna be awesome.
Finally.
Like this is going to be a Batman movie. Like not like a comic book movie Batman movie, but an actual like this is Batman, and this is gonna be awesome.
This very well could be the most comic accurate Batman movie maybe we've ever gotten. I don't know if I want to go that far, but it could be close.
Yeah,
I could see it being.
I love the detective side of Batman. That to me is sort of that for me for Batman versus Superman is kind of where the problems for that character stem. So the fact that we're really going to dive into him being a detective and being like 2 years in, so he's not super well established, but he kind of knows what he's doing, is really going to be cool.
Yeah, Batman and Robin is still up there, but I think the Batman will be kind of cool too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited about that. I like the first Shazam, so I'm excited to get a second one. I'm excited we're diving into that world with Black Adam too, because Black Adam looks like really interesting.
And I love The Rock, so just can't wait to see more Rock.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. The Rock is probably the most likable, big time celebrity out there right now.
Yeah. And like I said, The Flash, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it as a reset. like kind of what the long-term plan is after it. I think that's what I'm most interested in about it.
Right.
Bryce, what are you most interested in the Flash about, Bryce?
Just to see how it's gonna end up.
Okay.
Like, what actually happens at the end. Like, are they
Yeah.
gonna do a full reboot? Is this a complete restart, or are they gonna
Yeah.
kind of keep what's been successful and just kind of move forward with that?
Yeah.
So
for me, as much as I'm interested in the actual Flash stuff, since it's a Flash movie, the Batman situation is going to be really interesting because Ben Affleck is supposed to be in this movie, and he's the canon DCEU Batman along with Michael Keaton's Batman. So how they're going to work out that situation is going to be what I'm kind of paying most attention to.
I'm hoping we get Batman Beyond with Keaton. That'd be so freaking
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, Michael Keaton's just killing it in the superhero world over the last few years. I mean, starting off as Batman, before all of us were born. Now he's Vulture and Batman again, and he's in Morbius. I mean, that dude's killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is our major stuff on the DC side. Gal Gadot confirmed that Joss Whedon threatened to ruin her career, and she took care of it.
So sounds about right.
I don't think
kind of a jerk.
To be a jerk.
So,
I don't think we gotta get into that too much. Joss Whedon is terrible.
Yep. Pretty much. That's all I have to say about it. Is Joss Whedon's a terrible person. I think we already knew that. So
that's what we've been hearing for the better part of a year. So
I mean, we've heard it before that with Charisma Carpenter from.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm just talking about the DC stuff.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that Gal Gadot basically shut it down, I guess, is what it seemed like when she was talking about it. Good on her for that. I'm assuming that means that she felt she had allies that she could rely on, like maybe Patty Jenkins. So if that's the case, awesome.
And she's sticking around for Wonder Woman 3, so.
Yeah. So like I said, we don't want to harp on it too much other than
it happened.
Awesome Gal Gadot.
Yep.
Joss Whedon.
Yep. Joss Whedon sucks. So yep. That's pretty much it. So
that's pretty much most of what we had to talk about, right?
Yeah, I think that is our big Marvel, DC, and Star Wars news for this week. Next week we will be back to talk more Bad Batch.
Yep.
Of course. And to
Episode
talk
3.
about and to talk about more Marvel, DC, Star Wars, whatever comes out during the week. Please, please, please join us for the Bad Batch watch along on Thursday at 11:40 p.m. Like I said, it's me, Richard, Josh, and maybe Rob. He wasn't in this week, but he was in the first week, and he was great.
Hopefully we'll get Rob back, yeah.
And we've got a ton of other shows that Bryce will fill you all in on.
Yep.
Yeah, we got plenty of Power Ranger shows. We got Star Trek shows. We got the watch along. We got this show. Plenty of stuff for you guys to tune in and watch. We got something for pretty much everyone, so definitely be sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications to be notified of everything coming on to the channel here in the future. That being said, I think that wraps this up. We've got our social media handles down in the description below if you want to follow us on social media. And I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, here at the Illuminerdi, we're always watching.
Join us here next Sunday.
Take care.
See you Sunday.